Hi friends, I hope you're all doing well. If I'm here with you today, it's once again to talk to you about a product from EcoFlow. A few months ago, I told you about the EcoFlow RAPID Magnet. It's a power bank from EcoFlow. I'll put the link in the description if you want to know more. It was a little surprise for me. It had lots of nice little features like being able to magnetically attach to the back of your phone and being accessible through a mobile app. And EcoFlow expanded the range with 2 other series, which they sent me more or less at the same time. So I figured I'd take the opportunity to make a video about both products at once. That is the EcoFlow RAPID and the EcoFlow RAPID Pro. So EcoFlow RAPID, I'll call it the classic or the standard one, just to keep things clear. And the Pro, I'll just call it the Pro. Before starting the review of both products, let me remind you that in the description or the article where you're watching this video, you'll find a discount code not only for the 2 batteries I'm presenting today, but also for the entire EcoFlow store. Currently, the code is CARO5. Every month, I also update an article. You'll also find in the description the best deals on the range on the entire EcoFlow store, the promotions you shouldn't miss. All right, let's get back to the video. So, the first version of the RAPID, well, actually the second, the classic RAPID that EcoFlow sent me, comes in 2 colors, all black and gray and black. I got the gray and black version, which can deliver up to 170 watts. So when I received it, it felt pretty heavy to me because I was used to the smaller version, the RAPID Magnetic one. And when I picked this one up, I thought, wow, it does have some weight to it. It weighs just under 600 grams. Whereas the Pro is even heavier, coming in at 700 grams. Right away, what I appreciated was seeing the wrist strap. The wrist strap that includes a USB-C connector. Honestly, I think that's really clever, really smart. It's well integrated. It feels very sturdy. You can tell it's pretty tough. I think you could pull on it and it would hold up. Unfortunately, I've only had them for a few weeks, so I don't know how it'll hold up over time, but I still found it to be quite solid. Smart. Honestly, in this case, it's super smart, especially since, unfortunately, you'll see it's something you don't get with the other one. And this version, compared to the other classic version, has a second built-in cable. A cable that can stretch up to 60 centimeters, about 55 to 60 centimeters around there. The cable seems pretty sturdy to me. I really like the brake. The brake works a bit like a seat belt. The more gently you pull, the more it retracts. The more you pull sharply, the more it locks. What else can we say about this battery from an external point of view? It has a USB-A output port and a USB-C port. This basically means you can charge up to 4 devices at the same time. 1 on the USB port, 1 on the USB-C port, and 2 with the cable. So we have 2 versions. We have this one, which, with the cables integrated directly into the battery, can deliver 100 watts from the most powerful port and up to 170 watts across all ports, which is different from the version without the retractable cables, but with a USB-A port and a USB-C port on top, which can deliver 140 watts on a single port and up to 170 watts total output across all ports. It's important to note that this version, compared to other batteries you can find on the market, is allowed on airplanes. That's a detail that can really matter, because if you're on a long-haul flight and need to charge your laptop or your iPad, even for 2 people, you'll be able to plug in. And normally, during your flight, or even if you have a layover, you won't need to go looking for outlets in an airport. Honestly, with the capacity you have here, you're all set. So, since this version has 4 ports, yes, you can charge up to 4 devices at the same time. Obviously, it will depend on the power requirements of each device, but you can easily have 1 port at 100 watts, another at 15, another at 18, and another at 15. As long as you stay under 170 watts, it's perfect. And it's the same for the version without retractable cables. Now that's on paper. In theory and in actual practice, that's precisely what I personally observed as well during all of my comprehensive tests and evaluations. I was able to charge and power my iPad, my MacBook Pro M4 and my iPhone 15 all at once. it worked without any problem at all. I was able to power all three devices at the same time, and likewise when charging, the battery charging time more or less matched the theoretical values stated, unlike back when I tested the mag, where I found there was still a difference between what EcoFlow claimed and the reality. You should definitely know that both of these batteries, whether you choose the classic version or the Pro version, each have a dedicated screen, specifically a small, vibrant, defty screen, conveniently located on the front panel. This is a very small detail that I find a little less good on this battery. It's important to note that there are advantages and disadvantages to both. On this one, the downside I found was the menu navigation. Managing the menu with just this single button here is a bit of a hassle. You press it, but sometimes nothing happens. There are several types of displays. So there's a display that shows us the overall information. For example, here I'm going to plug it in and you'll see it immediately shows me this overall display. If I press it again, it gives me information about each port. So here it's telling me that it's the port. One of the ports that's powered as an input. Similarly, if I want to charge something, for example, here, I'm going to charge my phone directly. You'll see that it's going to tell me, if I press here, I have one port as input and one port as output. So that's cool. We get all the information port by port. And then there's another screen, which is the screen. Let me press it. There you go. The information screen that shows both the number of battery cycles and also the battery health status information. Yeah, I have to admit this screen is... The battery's OS isn't... I thought it would be better than this, and especially the slightly disappointing thing is that you can add this small battery to the EcoFlow app. You can add the Pro battery to the EcoFlow app, but the classic one is impossible. So it's not included, it's not detected by the app, and you can't add it manually as a device. We currently have the small one and the Pro version, but unfortunately, the medium-sized one cannot be connected to the application, which I find pretty surprising. Why not this one and the other two? So that means on top of that, it will be able to... There won't be any updates unless you can connect it to a computer and change the firmware, but that's a bit complicated, whereas with the EcoFlow app, when you need to do an update, it's done directly. It's directly integrated into the app. You'll see, I know that normally it should display for me. So for example, if I take the controller here, it tells me, there you go, I can update it. I can update the battery software. So there you go. Actually, I'll take advantage of it. I'll do it now. There, it's already done. It's incredibly fast. And this version, no. So that's the main drawback I found with the classic version. The fact that it can't, that both the front management screen and the OS aren't on par with the other products, in my opinion, and that you can't connect it to the EcoFlow app. That's really for those who are already part of the ecosystem and all that. In the end, when I got the Pro, I kind of understood that there really is, I think, a difference in clientele. It really is for two different types of people, and that's what I was able to gather. Now let's move on to the Pro. So here is the Pro. This is the 27,500 milliamp hour version that I received. It's the intermediate version in the Pro range. There's the 20,000 milliamp hour version, there's the 27,500 milliamp hours, and then there's the Pro X, which has 27,650 milliamp hours, but comes with other features. So when I got it, I thought, great, it's the Pro version. What is it going to offer us? Well, there are certainly some really interesting things you'll definitely find in this particular one. Like, for example, in terms of the available ports, here I specifically have 3 versatile USB-C ports and an integrated cable as well. Even though we're in the Pro range, I find that even if the cable looks classier, it actually makes me a bit more nervous than the cable over here. I don't know why, but I find that managing this one is easier than the other. The other one actually makes me a bit nervous. I truly hope that I am not mistaken, but there is certainly something quite significant that makes me uneasy. What else do you find on the Pro version that you don't get on the standard one? It's the ports down here which allow the battery to be recharged on a special EcoFlow dock that lets you recharge the battery to 80% in 20 minutes. Just a reminder, this is still a 27,650 milliamp hour battery. So being able to recharge it in 20 minutes is quite an achievement. I think it recharges cell by cell, or rather multiple cells at the same time, which is what allows for such performance. And unlike the standard battery, this one can power up to 4 devices. Also, with the external cable and the 3 USB ports on top, you'll be able to power up to 4 devices at up to 300 watts this time, instead of the 100 watts, or rather 170 watts on the standard version. So here, with the standard version, it's a maximum of 170 watts output, but with the Pro, it's 300 watts output. What is the power output of each port? Here you can output up to 140 watts with the retractable cable, and it's also 140 watts on one of the USB-C ports on top, which is also used for charging. It's the in and out port. When you don't have the dock readily available to charge, the other 2 USB-C ports are for output and allow you to charge up to 65 watts, whereas the standard version was lacking in this area. The Pro version is a bit nicer in that regard. So I'm going to do exactly as I did earlier. I'm going to charge it from the top and also power my phone at the same time. So now we end up with several display outputs. We have already a menu. We have 3 buttons. We no longer have just one. So we have a multi-directional pad to navigate through the different menus, and here to confirm or to exit. So we have a first screen, a second screen when I press, which is a bit like the other one, giving us information. Here it tells me that port C1 is currently charging. We have an information screen that matches the other one. But the design, you can feel that the dots there's better quality. The screen is not the same, definitely not the same between the two. And I don't understand why there's this firmware difference between the two. And same here, we're lucky to have a menu where you can directly change several things, including enabling Wi-Fi and Bluetooth on the battery, something we don't have on the other one. Why? Because this time indeed we'll be able to, unlike the standard version, we'll be able to add our battery. So we have some information, and there's a little feature that's missing from the Pro version in the app, which we did have on the slightly smaller version. It's the ability to make the battery ring. In the magnet version, I don't know if it's because it's a bit smaller and maybe more likely to get lost, but I thought the feature that lets you make your battery ring from the app was pretty nice, something the Rapid Pro doesn't do. So now, what are the negative points of this Pro version? Well, the negative point is something you only notice once you've had the Classic version, actually. Because having 2 built-in cables on the Classic is actually pretty cool. It saves you from having to bring extra cables. It lets you charge 2 devices without needing to bring any cables. That's the advantage I have, but the downside I found with the Pro is that the Pro only has a single built-in USB-C cable. Another small issue I discovered right when I received this one, because I got the Classic first and then the Pro, was that my partner said, "Hey, I need to charge my Mac OS keyboard, which uses Thunderbolt. And the only port we have is a USB-A port to charge the cable, to charge the Mac OS keyboard." And so I said, use the Pro, because the Classic was empty. I had just finished testing it. She says, okay. Then she goes, oh, but there's no USB-A port. So that was exactly the situation where we actually needed it. I admit that we very rarely need it, but just at the moment when I thought, well, no, just charge it with the battery. We have the battery. With 27,650, we're good. but there's no USB-A port, which you do find on the Classic model. Actually, when I had the Classic in my hand, I thought, damn, there's no app. There's no connection to the app, and the OS inside isn't really great. And when I tried the other one, I thought, oh, right, but actually there's no USB-A port here, so I'm kind of stuck. And actually, you have to understand EcoFlow's choice a bit. Like the name suggests, this is a Classic model. I think the point is, it's going to depend on to what you're looking for. If you're someone who doesn't have professional needs, who just wants a battery with plenty of storage for everyday use, like you're just there, you're not working, it's not a professional battery, this one will be perfect. That's because you'll have the different ports, you can charge your phone, your iPad, and even your partner's devices without needing to bring extra cables, since you're not a professional and don't have to carry around a bunch of cables, unless you need a USB-A cable, which isn't usually the case for a professional who's going to want maximum performance. A battery that recharges super fast and can deliver 300 watts on all ports, whereas the other one can only deliver 170 watts. What does an average person care about being able to connect their battery to a mobile app? It's not going to be dense. Come on, that's just crazy. Here we're talking about a consumer product, but over there we're talking about a pro product, and the pro has his cables with him. He's a professional, he has his cables, he wants something high performance, he wants something responsive, he wants to be able to access different settings, whereas the general public doesn't care. The general public just wants to be able to charge as many devices as possible without having to carry around a bunch of cables. That's the difference. And I just happened to run into situations where I thought, well, this is missing or that is missing. But the choice seems a bit more logical when you really think about it. Would I have liked the screen? Would I have liked a mix of both? Of course. But maybe I'm the only one who wants a mix of both. So that's pretty much everything I really had to say and discuss about these particular batteries. I tested this one, and it also matches exactly the theoretical output given by EcoFlow. My favorite is still the smallest one because it can still charge 2 devices. It has enough energy, it's more convenient. You can do wireless charging, you can do a quick charge for your daily little gadgets and all that. When you're on the go, it's perfect. If you're traveling, if you're a bit more of an adventurer and you don't want to buy the big EcoFlow batteries, this one will be perfect. And if you're a professional who is much more demanding, both in terms of the battery's charging speed and the charging speed of the devices you plug into the battery, then it's the Pro version I would recommend to you. So there you have it, friends. That's everything I could tell you about the entire range of Rapid batteries. I'm lucky enough to be able to test them. Maybe the only thing I'm missing is the dock, but hey, let's not ask for too much either. Don't forget that you have the code CARO5 in the video description or in the article. And I'll see you soon and send you big hugs. Goodbye.